So this is 5.3 problem set in elementary algebra. Let's get a thicker pen here. Alright, so the problem set, let's look at a few of these. We'll start out with some simple ones and get to some harder ones. So let's look at number 13 first of all. We have 15t squared minus 67t, well that's a weird number, plus 38. Okay, so again, we're going to multiply 38 and 15, and we get 570. So what we're looking for is two numbers multiplied to give us 570, added together give us 67, or the difference between them. Anyway, 67 is what we want between those two numbers. Okay, so let's do a factor tree. Sometimes that ends up working the best, is finding all the factors. So we have 285 and 2, and then 285 reduces down. We divide that by 5 and we get 57 and 5, that's prime. 57 you can divide 3 into and get 19. Okay, so right now those are all the prime numbers. So if we multiply these together in certain order, like if we take 2 times 5 times 3 times 19, we'll get 570. So our products that will give us 570 are going to be any combination of the multiplication of these. So since we broke it down into a factor tree, we can take 19 times 3 and get 57. So 57 times 10 is 570. 285 times 2, 2 times 19 is 38, times 15 will give me 570. So there's all kinds of combinations here to get 570. So let's go ahead and write some down. 285 and negative, or I guess we're just looking for positives, aren't we? 285 times 2 and let's see, 10 times 57, 38 and 15. Is that okay? And look here, we have a 57 and a 10, and that will give us 67. So we're going to go ahead and use that one. So I'm going to rewrite this as 15t squared minus 57t minus 10t, because if I subtract them both, I get my negative 67, and that has to be the factors. Alright, so we have to find two numbers added or subtracted or taken the difference of or whatever that is going to give me this middle term, and in this case it's negative 57 and negative 10. So I don't really care what numbers I have here, whether they're positive or negative, just so that if I can combine them some way, I'm going to get 67. And I was able to. If I make this a negative and this a negative and add them, I'm going to get my negative 67. Alright, and then I'm going to put plus 38. So here are my four numbers, and we'll move this up in a minute. And I'm going to leave them in that order. And one of my problems that I had mentioned earlier was that we want to try to keep this middle number a positive. So normally I would switch these two around, but this one's a negative 2. So I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm not going to be able to switch these two numbers around to make that one a positive. I'm stuck with that. So 15t squared minus 57t minus 10t plus 38. Okay, so I'm going to look at this and group those, and I'm going to group those. So I'm going to bring out a 3 here and a t, and I'm left with 5t minus 19. Okay? And then I'm going to bring out, let's see, what can I bring out here? I guess I can bring out a 2, and I'm left with 5t plus 19. Okay, so one of the things you notice here, numbers are the same, signs are different. When you're doing this, the signs are different because when I take this negative 2 times 19, I get negative 38, and I'm supposed to have a positive. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this a negative. And I can do that because now when I multiply a negative times a negative, I get a positive 38. And another thing that's important, this set of terms, 5t minus 19, has to be the same as this one. So I had to change the sign. And it will always be the second set that you change the sign. You won't change the sign over here. It's just over here that you'll change it. So now I put my numbers that are outside the parentheses together and my numbers inside the parentheses together, and I get that for my answer. Okay, this is number 51. Okay, so the first step will always be see if you have something you can pull out. See if you have something that's common. Okay, so I'm going to write my product of primes minus 3 times 3 times 5. Alright, so there's my product of primes there, and there. Okay, so let's see what I have common. I don't have any 2's common. I mean, I have 2's here, but I don't have any here. I've got a 3, and 2 3s. So I can take out one of my 3's. So I'll take this one out, and one of these out. So I've got a 3. Anything else common? A y. I've got a 1y in each of these, so I'm going to pull y's out. And I'm left with 8x squared minus 2x minus 15. Okay. So now I'm going to multiply my 8 times 15 here, and I get 120. So I'm trying to find two numbers multiplied together give me 120 and have a difference of 2. So they're going to be numbers that are pretty close together because if the difference is 2, they've got to be like 8 and 10 because then the difference is 2 there. Alright, so let's see, 120. I've got 10. I know what it is. It's 10 and 12. Difference is 2 multiplied together give me 120. So 3y, 8x squared minus 12x plus 2x minus 15. So, oops, I'm sorry, that's not a 2x, that's a 10x. So notice what I've got here. I know that 10 times 12 is 120, and that there's a difference between the two that is 2, but I need to get a negative 2x. So if I make the 12 negative and I add a positive 10, I still get a negative answer because this is bigger. And I put my plus sign in the middle. I could have flipped them around. It could have been plus 10x minus 12x and gotten the negative 2x, and it would have worked. But if I can, I want that to be a plus. So let's do our grouping here. Group that and group that. And let's see, what can I pull out of there? I'm just going to make a big thing there just so I can double up on what I can pull out here. Alright, so I can pull out a 4 and an x, and I'm left with a 2x minus 3. And then I'm going to pull out a, let's see, 10 and 15. I'm going to pull out a 5. And I'm left with a 2x minus 3. Now again, notice the numbers inside the parentheses are the same. Alright, now I'm going to group these two together. And the two that are inside together, and then I'm going to bring down my 3y. And there's your answer. Okay, these are hard. These are not real simple. There's a lot of steps, there's a lot of thinking going involved, there's a lot of confusion as you're doing these. So just keep plugging away at it, and they'll start coming. But for a lot of you, these will always be a struggle, and that's okay. We'll just keep working on them over the years, and eventually you'll get them, and they'll become easier and easier. So that's it for the problem set for 5.3.